Today I'm going to be talking about what perhaps is the most difficult part of writing a story, or at least to me, and that would be starting it. So, a good place to start off with in figuring out where your story should start is this. Whose story is it? That's where your main character comes in. Just keep in mind that main character does not always equal the hero. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's up to you to figure it out. And the next part is a little bit weird, but bear with me. So, that would be how much experience does the main character have? So, where are they starting off? Are they starting off as a beginner, slightly experienced, or highly experienced, like James Bond or something like that? Like expert levels. So, this could be anything, but it all comes down to knowing your main character. Like, for example, with Dollhouse, Victoria is an 8-year-old girl. She doesn't know about the outside world, really. She doesn't know what's going on that much, so she's pretty much a complete beginner in her story. The third point what story do you want to tell afterwards? Alright, so let me explain. So, a lot of stories, shows, video games, comic books, they always have a certain story that they want to keep hidden at the start, but then they bring it about later. So, for example, I do have a couple stories that I want to tell in Dollhouse, but they're not Victoria's. So, I save them for later. Now, this might seem a little bit weird too, but number 4, and my last point in narrowing down where the story should start, it would be, who is the villain / antagonist? Going back to the whole Darth Vader example, Darth Vader would not be the antagonist or the villain to Luke if the story had started off with him as a younger boy. He has no way of getting off Tatooine. He doesn't know that his father even exists. So, Darth Vader would not be his antagonist. I don't know, it would be. Probably would be something similar to the Phantom Menace, where the antagonist to Luke as a child would probably be maybe a bully character, or maybe like a famous pod racer, so that he'd go on pod racing. So, clearly line out for yourself. Who is the villain / antagonist? Now, Dollhouse's villain, I haven't exactly revealed yet, or at least the main one. But, due to where the story starts for Victoria as a complete beginner, the villain doesn't exactly show up yet. He doesn't realize that Victoria hasn't awakened her powers yet. But if I had started, let's say, when she's a bit more experienced, like if she, let's say, start off with oh yeah, she's an experienced traveler in the world of Dollhouse. Well, then the villain will show up sooner. But since she starts off as a beginner, he shows up later. And also, yeah, just a little bit bullet point, where, or rather, let's see, like, where or when. Where/when does the antagonist show up? It's just a little bit of a bullet point, because depending on where he shows up, that could also be an indication of where you need to start your story. As a quick recap on the points to narrow down where your story should start: 1. Whose story is it? 2. How much experience does the main character have? 3. What story do you want to tell afterwards, or keep a secret from the audience at a later point? 4. Who is the villain and antagonist? These 4 points should hopefully help anyone and everyone gain a better understanding of where they want to start their story. At the beginning of this video, I said I would be talking about Dollhouse's first few panels. Now, due to Victoria being a beginner, she's naturally very scared. She doesn't know why she's having these dreams, and why this world has overtaken basically all of her dreams. She doesn't really have any regular dreams left. Dollhouse starts with her having one of these dreams, and she's being choked out by who knows what. She can't see, and she feels like she can't breathe. All of a sudden, a hand reaches out to her, says, "It will all be over soon." Then she wakes up. She's naturally very scared. She's 8 years old. She just had a nightmare. So she goes to her mother's room and asks to sleep with her. And she wakes up again in Dollhouse. Despite it just being a dream, she feels like it's very real. I hope this video did give some useful advice on where to start stories. Thank you all for watching, and have a very merry day. Is it really over yet? No, there's still one more thing that my creator has to show you. Well, I can't wait for these to show up.